Very disappointed!
Fantasy February cannot come soon enough. Well, let's talk about the author. Henry Kenneth Bulmer was an English author born January 14th, 1921, and he died in 2005 at the age of 84. He was married in 53, had 3 kids, but other than that, I can't find too much information on Bulmer's personal life. But what about his professional life, you ask? Bulmer was a machine. Over 160 novels, most of them SF. And as for short stories, you'll get tired and give up before you can count them all. He regularly used over 20 different pseudonyms, most notably H.K. Bulmer and Alan Burt Akers, which he used starting his most successful series, Dre Prescott. Honestly, I'm not sure if we've actually confirmed all the pen names he used, because Bulmer would invent elaborate backstories for all of them, fooling readers for years. While Kenneth Bulmer never received any awards or recognition for his work, he was known for reliably churning out multiple stories per year for over 40 years. Which brings us to Cycle of Nemesis. 7,000 years ago, one of Earth's earliest civilization was confronted by a menace from the stars, and died in a world-shaking effort to destroy that cosmic monster. But the death of that forgotten empire was not in vain, for they did succeed in entombing that dimension-shaking thing out of sight and harm to humanity. But even their efforts could not make that burial permanent, and after 7 millennia, the monster stirred again, cracking through the time-weakened barriers to assault the new world of today. This is a stunning novel of time and space, of desperate adventure through lost worlds and future phantasms, as a small band of valiant men fight the shattering power of an extra-galactic nemesis. Cycle of Nemesis was an original story published by Ace Books in 1967. It is 190 pages and originally cost 50 cents. The cover is by Kelly Freeze. Kelly, I love this. I really do love this, but this is not scary. This is a Muppet. Also, this little fella is clearly expecting a flood. I jest. The cover is beyond fun. This Ace edition is the only edition, but you shouldn't have any trouble finding it for $3 or $4. Speaking of dropping some coin, you want to get some Book Graveyard merch? Check this out. If you feel like supporting Nick over at the Book Graveyard and feel like looking hard AF, go buy this shirt. I'll include a link in the description. I have 3 young children, and there is a game they play on a daily basis. It's called Ambush Their Father, like Kato, steal his wallet, keys, earbuds, my book, notebook, whatever I have, pen, whatever I have on my person. They attack me, they steal it, then they run around the house squealing with delight as I chase it down and try and locate my stolen items. This happens on a daily basis. It's good exercise, it's good fun and all. This is a cry for help. What has happened before is they will do this and then they forget where they have hidden my items. I'm like, where's my phone? So I got to have my wife call my phone and then I find my phone. Things like that. All that to say, I have a notebook that I write notes in while I'm reading a book, and I really rely on that a lot, especially in the case of this book because I was reading multiple books at the same time. I don't typically do that, or I try not to do that, but I was reading multiple books at the same time, and so I was relying heavily on my notes for the layout, the categories, the good, the bad, the quotes, characters, information, pages that I can find, things like that, all of it. That's gone. I have no idea where it is. One of the kids took it, beat me up, took it, ran off squealing. It's lost somewhere in the house. I can't bloody find it. And so for many books, I would just reread, kind of skim and reread this and take new notes, all that. For this book, I can't. So in the case of this book, I'm just going to talk about it. Probably no gifts, no silly sounds, no good, the bad, no production. This is just going to be raw. I'm just going to ramble about it for a minute and then give my recommendation if you haven't guessed already what it might be. So the story opens and I think we are in some sort of future setting. It's kind of strange. It's like an alternate universe history. Maybe there's some futuristic things and some things that are still kind of antiquity. Anyway, it doesn't it's not particularly very clear. And we're at this auction house where they're auctioning these things off. Now, our hero is named Bert, and he's told from the first person. He's there with his buddy. I think his name's Pomfrey, or Pomp, something like that. Again, I should probably wish I had notes. and they're there at the behest of somebody to bid on something, to bid on like a statue. Whilst they're there, they open there's this dresser or this bureau cabinet thing that they're bidding on. And while the auctioneer goes to check it out, they open it up, and everyone had just checked this out a minute ago. Our hero Bert had just checked this out a minute ago. Oh, cool bureau. As soon as they go to the auction block, they open it up, and the naked body of a decapitated woman rolls out, blood everywhere. Just magically appeared there all of a sudden. And so obviously they shut the auction down and all this stuff. And so instantly I'm like, wait, what is happening here? I was instantly very intrigued. Then the auction picks back up like an hour or two later, which is, that's science fiction. But the auction picks back up, and our hero Bert is interested in this globe, just a kind of a classic looking globe. He bids on the globe. He wins the globe, and then somebody else comes and wants to buy it. I believe the guy's name is Benson. Some mysterious treasure hunter wants to buy this. I'll give you double for it. Right before this, Bert is in another room, and he keeps seeing like images of himself. Tons of creepy stuff happens in the beginning during this auction. He sees images of himself for a second, and he goes and talks to himself, and he's wearing a weird, goofy outfit. And then he disappears. And then he sees another naked lady running around the house screaming, ah, disappears. But somebody else, a girl named Phoebe, has seen it as well. So automatically there's kind of this connection they have. Like, did you see that? Yeah, but nobody else has seen these things. Anyways, weird stuff is happening, and he's still like, I want to buy this globe. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense why he's here, but that's what happens. And so then he goes and buys this globe. The guy named Benson's like, I want this globe. And he's like, why do you want this globe? I bought it, and I kind of like this globe. We don't have any backstory of our heroes or what anybody does. These are just characters, okay? But I'm interested, right? It's very strange. And so they buy this globe that they end up opening it up, and there's this kind of a clay tablet, a fragment of a clay tablet there that has some kind of ancient Syrian inscriptions. I believe it's Syrian. Wish I had bloody notes. Kids! Anyway, so obviously he's like, Benson's like, I'll pay you double for this. But now, Bert has seen all these crazy things happening. And he's like, no, I'm interested. I'm in. There's an adventure happening, and I'm in. So they basically Benson tells him a story on the back cover where there is this ancient evil that somehow knows Benson is after him and wants to seal him away before this ancient cosmic monster, which is not this guy on the front. I thought it was this guy in the front, and so I was instantly like, what? That's the cosmic, this eldritch monster is this goofy, googly Muppet with a, his hands look like those things that, those wood burning tools. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways. And so they're going on this globe hopping adventure. They end up finding out by doing a bunch of different stuff that they find out where the location of the time tombs are. Hey, the time tombs. You don't think, Dan Simmons, Hyperion didn't rip off Cycle of Nemesis? No, he really did not. But anyway, they go to this time tomb. They're going to this time tombs. But before they can leave, they're still at this place. They recognize there's another girl going with them. Her name is, I don't remember her name. It's not important. She didn't utter a word the whole time, really. But this other girl's with them, and they recognize her. Oh, man, that's the girl that we saw the naked girl we saw being chased by this monster. And she's also makes you think she's one that was decapitated. So anyway, now they're like, was this a part of the future? Was this the past? Was this what? They don't have a clue. But now this other girl's with them. So there's this band of 2 women, 3 men. Oh, and a robot butler, because of course, there's a robot butler. So they end up going across in this adventure on this plane. However, they're attacked by these mythological creatures. I think they're called Ukatu. I'll do some research and figure it out. But the Ukatu or something like that, which are like a half lion. Historically, they're like a half lion a lion person or whatever. But they were like eagles or some kind of eagle beast. They're being chased. They have dogfights with these things in the air, and luckily our heroes are packing heat. They're all packing heat, like crazy powerful guns, which is nice. We don't know what any of these people do, but why they all have these impressive guns. Oh, Bert is. We learned halfway through that Bert is also a. They kept calling him a wet neck, and I felt kind of uncomfortable. Like a wet neck. Why do they keep calling him a wet neck? It didn't make any sense. I thought it was kind of a racial, kind of a not a wet back, but like maybe he said the wrong thing. I did not know. It felt weird in here that everybody kept referring to Bert as a wet neck. It turns out he was a race of people that lived under the sea but looks identical. Like Aquaman, I think, because he just looks normal. It's not like he has fins or flippers or gills or anything. He's just can swim fast and likes to live under this. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, there's some racial remarks back and forth as they go. That's another thing about this. Everybody in this book is awful. They're all jerks. They're all jerks. Everybody's constantly snapping at each other in a very rude way. And then, like, the very next scene, they'll try to make some jokes, but one person will, like, flip out about it. Everybody was jerks. Nobody was likable. And so essentially, as they're going closer to the location of these time tombs, the nemesis, the time nemesis, knows that they're coming. So he's sending these monsters to attack their ship. And there were some cool scenes of action with these monsters chasing them. And then he starts sucking them into different times. And so they'll take them into the future, into one time it's in an alternate reality, or he'll take them into the past where they're in the middle of this desert and there's nothing but like biplanes and stuff. And so he's just taking them into different timelines, but the location stays the same, so they still keep moving closer and closer. They have no plan, at least that we know of at this time, of how to stop this time beast. I mean, apparently it took, I don't know what it took. I can't remember. It took gods or something back in the past, or ancient demigods in the past to seal them in. But now they're just going there with their pistols. One girl, the one that got her head chopped off, she doesn't have a name. I mean, she has a name. I literally cannot remember it. But all she would do, it was so annoying, you guys. She would just giggle the whole time, like always at inappropriate moments, and somebody would snap at her. Like at one point, somebody was going to backhand her, and then they stop, 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 stop. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just a stupid girl. But yeah, she would just giggle like monsters would attack him, and she'd go all the bloody time. She would just be giggling. Drove me insane. It was so annoying, so annoying. Anyways, but I wasn't annoyed at her. I was annoyed with Kenneth Bulmer because everybody else was worse than she was. Anyway, they get jerked around through time. They end up going, but then like at one point they suck him through a different location too, so the Time Lord or the Nemesis can do that whenever he wanted to. One time he accidentally took them to his location, but when he was like animating these monsters that he was sending after, I don't know. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. There was a scene where our heroes have to swim across a crocodile-infested river, but they were just, their plan was, okay, one of you start swimming across it, and then we'll wait until all those hundreds of crocodiles in the banks. As soon as they start coming in the water, then we'll shoot them or try and shoot them as they cross the water. And that's what happened. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, but I mean, I guess it was fun because people are these people are swimming and dodging crocodile bites and kicking crocodiles and fighting them with knives and stuff. That scene was pretty fun. It's stupid, but fun. Yeah. What else? What else happened in this dumb book? Oh, so at the end, so finally they end up going to, and they started, or they were now the Time Lord is causing earthquakes and is like destroying entire civilizations to stop these people. How does he even know about these people? How does Benson even know that there is this whole time thing? It never explains what anybody does, why anybody's even on this quest. It was just, hey, we're the main characters and we have to go on an adventure because we're in a book. So they go on their adventure. Yeah, so then finally they get sucked into another time as they're traveling through a sandstorm, and they appear at Oh, there was one. Before I get to that, there was one funny scene where they go to some. I think they're in Afghanistan, right? And so they're in Afghanistan. They go stay at a hotel. And so then but they're worried about getting attacked or sucked through different times. So they rent 3 hotel rooms. How they have money for, I don't know the currency in Afghanistan, but apparently they have it. So they stay at this hotel, and they all go sleep in the same room, to be safe. Well, I'm not too familiar with Sharia law, but that's I do know that that's frowned upon. So they all get arrested. So then the cops get sucked through time too, and they feel bad, but they end up like using the Afghani police kind of as bait or diversions. And then at one point, they're like, "All right, you guys are coming with us. We're using you." So they're like, "Okay." They follow along with them, and then they just abandon them in the past. They just abandoned the police at one point, like, "Oh, see you guys later." It's so mean. So anyway, at one point they end up coming back to that same big, large Tudor style house they were in the beginning. The Victorian home that had all these things, where they saw the visions in the beginning. And I don't actually have a clue what happened at this point. A lot of stuff was happening, but none of it actually made sense at the end, which I was really hoping it would. Like at one point, people got into they knocked people out and got into their costumes for reasons. Not I mean, at no point would Bert. You'd think he'd be like, "Hey, now I'm in this weird costume that I saw myself in that vision." Anyway, he put on the costume because that was a part of their path. This is a time travel book written by somebody who doesn't know what the heck they're talking about, and nobody knows what they're talking about when it comes to time travel. And anyway, oh look, I got the sunlight ruining the shot again. Why do you guys even watch this? I'm just a hot mess today. Dang it. Anyways, at one at you think in their mind they'd be like, "Hey, we're at this place where we saw the one girl, not Phoebe, but the one girl who doesn't have a name, who's always giggling. This is when we saw her running around naked being chased by a monster, and then we found her later with her head cut off." Oh no. Well, they assume it was her. But at no point is somebody naked. Like that, nobody's naked. Why would they be? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so then they're being chased by these monsters. They're blasting these monsters. And then there's a curtain, I think, at some point where our hero Bert has the time thing, but he's like, "No, I don't want Phoebe's going to die," or not Phoebe, the other girl's going to die, or something to that effect. And then he read off of this tablet and sealed the Time Lords. I think that's what happened, or the Time Nemesis. I think that's what happened. So the Nemesis is sealed again, and they're brought back to their own. He was kind enough to bring them back to their own time. But now, the girl has survived. She made it. The annoying girl who's always giggling. She's fine. She made it. But now Phoebe's gone. And they make some offhand remark like, "Yes, there was obviously this sacrifice or something, I think." And Phoebe is like, "So was Phoebe the one who was decapitated and naked, stuffed in a bureau? And if so, how and why and who did it and why was it?" What? So what's the verdict? Thrift Shop. It has some cool ideas. I like the idea of a time-traveling archaeological adventure, but none of these ideas were fleshed out or treated with care. Once again, prolific equals mediocrity. If you get sucked into another time and this is the only book around, it can provide some mild entertainment, but chances are you'll spend the entire time wishing it were better. And that is my crappy review of a crappy book. Tell me, have you read this? Is there another Kenneth Bulmer that I should have read instead? Let us know in the comments, please. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time with Fantasy February, or Fantuary.
Hey, what are you doing?